What's going on, y'all? It's the Caveman back at it again with another video, and oh my god, I have so much to say about this damn football game. The Buffalo Bills, the day has come. Somehow the day finally came. It almost didn't. It was almost probably the biggest, most disappointing day in all of Buffalo history. It damn near was, but we came out on top. The Buffalo Bills win their first playoff game since 1995. They beat the Colts 27-24 in probably the biggest nail-biter of the entire wild card weekend. That game had me on the edge of my seat. The entire I thought the game was going to be close. I was the last person underestimating the Colts. I have been saying, if you've been watching my videos, the Colts are a problem. I do not want to play this team. And we saw why, because they brought hell to us. They gave us hell, and I wanted nothing to do with them, and they showed us why I wanted nothing to do with them, because they gave us absolute hell. We escaped that game by the skin of our teeth. Boy, oh boy, like, that game was something else. That was a fantastic game. I didn't even think it was going to be that close. Like I said, I knew it was going to be a close game. I didn't underestimate the Colts, but I did not even think it was going to be that close. I mean, 27-24, came down to the very last drive. Another Hail Mary attempt that we had to freaking deal with. We came out on top. That game was just holy shit, man. Just there's so much to go over in this game. Like, there's so much I want to talk about, so much I want to touch on, and what I feel like I have is such a short amount of time, but so much happened in that game. It was just so much to take in. I could barely breathe. Like, that game was ridiculous. How can we not talk about the MVP, who I think is the absolute NFL MVP, who broke more records, made more history this weekend, and that's Josh Allen. Josh Allen, have yourself a day, kid. Have yourself a damn day. You went out there. He won this game for the Buffalo Bills. He did. There's no denying that Josh Allen won this game for the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, 26 for 35, 324 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air, and 11 for 54 on the ground, and a touchdown on the ground as well. Josh Allen, he literally did it all. Josh Allen accounted for 355 of 397 of our total yards. This dude, like, what percentage is that? That's got to be at least 90% of our total yards. Like, he literally did everything. This is what I meant when Josh Allen is the MVP of the league, because he literally does everything. You don't see Aaron Rodgers doing all that. You don't. Aaron Rodgers does not account for 90% of his team's yards. Ever. I don't think that ever happens. Josh Allen just accounted for, like, let me do the math. Josh Allen accounted for just under 90% of our entire total yards at 89%. I don't know who ever has done that ever. Like, 89% of the team's total yards came from Josh Allen. That is ridiculous. That is literally called doing everything. But that's what MVPs do. When you're a leader of a team, when you're a quarterback, like, when you're that guy that your team is being successful because of, like, if that's what you're gonna do, that's what you gotta do. And Josh Allen did it. He came through and he absolutely did. Let's just read off more history Josh Allen made this weekend. Josh Allen's completion percentage of 74.2% is the highest in Bills playoff history, defeating Jim Kelly. Josh Allen also joined Joe Montana as one of the only players with 300 plus pass yards, 50 plus rushing yards, it's 68 plus completion percentage in a playoff game in the Super Bowl era. On top of that, Josh Allen became the first quarterback to throw for 300 plus yards, run for 50 plus yards, and complete at least 70% of his passes in a playoff game in all time. Like, he's the first quarterback to ever do that. So Josh Allen making more history, just proving why he deserves to be the MVP. I mean, just he's making history every week at this point. This kid's miraculous. Our first touchdown of the game was a designed run to the right, and Josh Allen's literally rolling out. He's running the sweep or whatever it was, and he's like, oh shit, there's nowhere for me to go here. He's on his way to the ground. Shovel passes it, like, sidearm shovel passes it to Dawson Knox in the back of the end zone for the most Josh Allen touchdown I've ever seen. Obviously, we were going to see people complain about the fumble that he had on that last drive there that really could have sealed the game. I think we could have went down and scored a touchdown had that sack fumble not happened. Darrell Williams, thank you for recovering that. But people were complaining that Josh Allen, he's doing too much, blah, blah, blah. It's like, in my opinion, you do not get the falling Dawson Knox flip touchdown. You don't get that kind of touchdown from Josh Allen unless you get the bad. Josh Allen he plays hero ball 99.9% of the time. He plays that kind of game. He is a risky ball player, and that's what you get from a guy like Josh Allen. If you're going to get those kind of touchdowns to Knox, you're also going to get, when he's trying to do too much like he usually does, you're going to get those fumbles. I mean, it was almost costly, don't get me wrong, but that's just what you're going to get from a guy like Josh Allen. He's risky. That's what a guy like Josh Allen does, and you can't get all the good. You can't get this entire season of good without that little itty-bitty bit of bad. You just can't. You gotta take the great with the slight bit of bad. You just have to. You just have to accept that's who Josh Allen is. How about Gabe Davis, too? I mean, that dude showed out. He had a couple big toe depth catches in the beginning of the game when we really could not move the ball, and Josh Allen was able to find him down the sideline. That one was a catch. That was a bit of a controversy over Twitter I saw, but that was a catch. I don't care what anybody says. Gabe Davis got his 2 feet in. The Bass hit the longest postseason field goal by a rookie in NFL history. More history to be made by a Bills player. I mean, like, this game was fantastic on so many fronts, but it was also pretty scary and pretty bad in a couple too. Brian Daboll, you know, I don't know if you wanted to stay in Buffalo. You know, I don't know if you want to stay in Buffalo as bad as you do, but you kind of showed that you did. Josh Allen should not be running the ball that much. He got folded like a lawn chair once, and I think that was the last time he ran the ball. But Josh Allen does not need to run the ball 11 times, Brian Daboll. I don't know why we were designed running Josh Allen so much. We were passing the ball just fine. They're the second best rush defense in the league, and we're running our franchise quarterback right into the teeth of DeForest Buckner. So I'm not sure what that was about, Brian Daboll. You had a little bit of a questionable day. We saw no Isaiah McKenzie, who just had 3 touchdowns previous week. We saw barely any Devin Singletary. We only saw Devin Singletary because Zach Moss got hurt, which is unfortunate. Now we're going to see who we're going to bring up this week for the Ravens. But anyway, we saw barely any Devin Singletary when that dude deserves to have the football. He was our MVP of the playoff game last year. I don't know why he's not even getting playing time. Brown was basically invisible. I mean, our play calling was a little bit sketchy this week. I can't lie, Brian Daboll. No more running the ball into the second best run defense in the league. No more doing that, please. But we were starting the first half with the ball on our own 5, like every single drive. Like every single drive, we were literally pinned down inside our own 10-yard line. Our special teams unit was not too hot. Andre Roberts was returning a couple balls out of the end zone that he really shouldn't have been. It just was not too hot for the Bills in their starting field position, and we had to fight through that too as well, which was a huge factor as to why we really couldn't move the ball. The defense played well for most of the game as well. I mean, we only gave up 10 points through 3 quarters. And then in the 4th quarter, you know, we had that epic collapse when we gave up 2 touchdowns in the span of like 2 minutes total. Like, I don't know what happened that the defense decided to just allow that. Like, Jack Doyle all of a sudden became the next coming of Travis Kelce, and we could not stop Jack Doyle. I don't know where that came from, but nevertheless, our defense definitely needs some fixing. The run defense was not fantastic, but you had to expect that. That is what Jonathan Taylor is able to do. The dude is an absolute monster. You can't just call our run defense bad without acknowledging how good Jonathan Taylor is and how good their offensive line is. Hence why we really couldn't get any pressure, which was a little, concerning as well. We got very little pressure on Phillip Rivers, and I think, in my personal opinion, Phillip Rivers is one of the most disruptible quarterbacks in the entire league, and we could not get to him. We could not make him, miss passes very often, which was a little bit concerning. Phillip Rivers came to ball. He really did. He came out and he was slinging the rock. That team, they came to play on all fronts. They really did. Jonathan Taylor, Phillip Rivers, Trey Burton, Jack Doyle, and Naheem Hines. I mean, they came to play. DeForest Buckner. That team was there. The team was there to play, and we got what I pretty much fully expected from them. Our defense did the only thing we couldn't do at the end of the game. I think we had like a 14-point lead. I think we were up 24-10. The only thing we couldn't do in the 4th quarter was give up a touchdown in a matter of a minute, and that's what we did. Next time we were on defense, the only thing we couldn't do is give up a touchdown in a minute, and then we did it again. So I don't know what that was about. That was a little bit sketchy. The defense did make a big 4th and goal stop. They did play well. I mean, I really won't sit here and say they played bad. They did their part for the most part. Just in the 4th quarter, they kind of had a little bit of a collapse. But they did play well. They had that big 4th and goal stop, like I said. Frank Reich, I think, left a couple points on the board between Rodrigo Blankenship missing the field goal, hitting the upright, and then him not kicking the field goal earlier in the game. That probably could have been very helpful for them. They went for a 3rd and goal toss play on the 2-yard line, which lost a couple of yards, and then Phillip Rivers on 4th and goal missed Zach Pascal, or maybe it was Michael Pittman, one or the other, in the back of the end zone off the fingertips, and they made a big stand there. Frank Reich is definitely kicking himself in the face for a couple decisions he made this game for sure. About that last freaking drive, I mean, Sean McDermott, Sean McDermott's excellent. This guy deserves coach. I mean, I feel like there are like 4 different people in the Bills organization I feel like deserve awards this year, but I think Sean McDermott is absolutely the one that deserves an award the most. This guy, unbelievable. Watching the way other coaches manage games, especially Mike Tomlin, I'm going to talk about all that this week too. Mike Tomlin is an idiot, but anyway, just seeing how well Sean McDermott handled that last drive by the Colts, it was fantastic. And, Phillip Rivers was driving down the field. He was getting the team down the field. And all of a sudden, there's a fumble. Or at least what we thought was a fumble. And what should have been a fumble. It was reviewed. I don't know why. All right. First things first, the reffing this weekend was horrible. And it started off in game 1 between the Bills and the Colts when the Bills had to call a timeout in the final 2 minutes to get a review on a turnover, or what should have been a turnover. I don't even know why they required a timeout to review. Like, forget the fact that it wasn't a fumble, even though it was. Forget the fact that, like, they didn't call it a fumble. The fact that Sean McDermott needed to use a timeout to trigger a review is just mind-blowing. This is a 2020 playoff game. We still can't get this shit right. Unbelievable. And then, like I said, on top of the fact they didn't even call it a fumble when I think it was clear and obviously a fumble. I mean, I don't know how much more evidence you need. Like, his knee was up. His knee was up, and Jordan Poyer had not touched him yet. He did it purposely, and he forced a fumble. If we would have lost, that would have been very upsetting if that happened the way it did. That would have been devastating. Shortly after that, we got our timeout back, which I was a little confused about. I don't know if we deserved our timeout back or what. I mean, we did deserve our timeout back, don't get me wrong. I don't know if we, I don't know if by the rule book we should have gotten it back, but that was a little sketchy. I was a little confused by that. But nevertheless, we had that timeout left, and Phillip Rivers was borderline in field goal range, and he threw a perfect out route to one of his receivers. I don't remember who it was, and he caught it, went out of bounds, and apparently a timeout went off, and Sean McDermott called a timeout. It was before the snap too, and they canceled out the play. Phillip Rivers the next two plays throws the ball out of bounds, and then they have to go for a Hail Mary, and that's the end of it for the Colts. Sean McDermott, you had a phenomenal final drive. Hats off to you, my friend. What a game. I mean, like Cole Beasley himself said it. That was the best defense we played all year, and I've been saying it. They're gonna be good. This team should not be slept on. I've been fucking saying it. Like, I don't know, like, everything I said in this game happened. Like, the way this game went is exactly what I was worried about. This team is going to bring us hell. This team is not a team I want to play against. There was a reason why in my who I don't want to play video, they were number one. That was the reason right there. I just don't know how you could have overlooked this team. This team played phenomenal all season. They played phenomenal this past week. My Bills, they came out on top, thank God. It was almost spoiled, but that's okay. Colts, you guys had a hell of a season. If we didn't win that game, you guys would have sent the city of Buffalo into a state of despair for a very long time. But let me know what you think of the game. Let me know what you think of the video. I'm looking forward to the games this weekend. I'm looking forward to what we have in store for the Bills. Coming this Saturday, the Baltimore Ravens are coming into town, and I'm going to break that game down as well. If you like the video, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.